looking for victims and police. Government should all the stakeholders to lead together and agree together. The 3% for the oil producing community is too low.
So the support that is needed, and once again, the support your airline people will blossom.
This is Nigeria. You need to give people sense of belonging.
Good morning. This is Inside Nigeria, reaching you on Leadership Television. My name is Winnie Fodibebo, and I have with me in the studio this morning a man that is wearing about 3 caps, if not more than. He's a public affairs analyst, a TV host, and of course a syndicated columnist. His name is Mr. Jide Ojo.
It's a pleasure. This is Amotekun.
Now we are in this morning.
Yeah, we are here Amotekun yesterday. But it's all right. It's part of. I mean, this cloth has been in the making before we had Amotekun adopting it.
Yeah, thank you so much. We have 4 papers on our menu this morning, talking of Nigeria's most influential newspaper, Leadership, the sister publication, National Economy, the Daily Independent, and ALJAZIRAH midweek. We'll be flagging up with our staple, that is leadership. On leadership this Wednesday morning, it says PNB booby traps next president, extends PIA implementation by 18 months. President Muhammadu Buhari booby traps next president, extends Petroleum Industry Act implementation by 18 months. And on the rider says delay will erode investor confidence, stakeholders. Decision hasty without stakeholders' inputs, say organized private sector. Nigerian Labour Congress suspends planned protest. Lawan wants fear smuggling stem. That is on leadership this morning. We woke up this morning to the news that President Muhammadu Buhari has extended the implementation of the Petroleum Industry Act by 18 months, which means the next president is going to take over the implementation or supervise the implementation of the PIA. What do you say to this?
Thank you very much, Winifred. I think somebody said, politics trump economy. But it's not yet Uhuru. We are, I don't know whether to say we are gaining to lose. If you read one other newspaper, they are talking about 1 trillion will be deducted from federal allocation, FAC, for subsidy this year.
Yes.
And already some of the governors have said they will not be able to pay salaries unless this subsidy is renewed, because it reduces their distributable pool from FAC. While we may have averted labor strike at the federal level, some states will not have it good, particularly towards the second quarter or towards the second half of 2022. Because by the time they deduct that 1 trillion that are meant for fuel subsidy payment, what will be left for the states to share will be small. But let's look at the riders. Delay, it is believed, will erode investors' confidence. This is why it has been said that we are not really policy somersault has been the bane of our development, because we bow too quickly to public pressure, government. But in this, I have to be sincere. Even if I were to be the president, that would be my option. You know why? The reason is that, as we say in economics, all things being equal, all things have not been equal.
Ceteris paribus.
Yes, all things have not been equal. When I was discussing this issue on this platform some weeks ago, I was hoping heavily that Dangote refinery will come on stream by the first quarter of 2022. That was what I read sometimes last year. Now we are learning that Dangote refinery will come on stream by third quarter. In fact, according to Chief Timi Presiva yesterday, Dangote refinery is expected to come on stream by the end of year 2022, which then means that without that as a buffer to take charge of cautioning the fuel importation, you will continue to import, and once we continue to import from Europe and Asia and wherever, we will continue to be subjected to the vagaries of price volatility in the international market. Am I communicating?
Yes, yeah.
So if the earlier promises that were made last year were fulfilled, ceteris paribus, in which case Dangote comes on stream by first quarter of 2022, then the 3 modular refineries come on stream. Even if we have to wait for the Port Harcourt refineries rehabilitation to be by end of the year, at least that Dangote and the 3 modular refineries can be a buffer pending the time that the Port Harcourt refinery will come on stream by the end of the year. But what has happened now is that all the hopes that were raised about modular refineries, about Dangote refinery, have not been met. And if you now decide to pull the plug and say, let the market forces determine price of PMS in Nigeria, then there will be weeks of unrest, which can lead to regime change. Because people are already angry and hungry.
Situation.
And yes, if you now say that officially the price of PMS should be over 300 naira per liter, people will take to the streets and they will be justified to vent their anger. And this government is trying to avoid another NSAS so soon after the one of 2020. So invariably, because all things have not been equal, you have to backtrack.
And in the anticipation of the NLC protest, you saw that yesterday in filling station.
It's not only yesterday. In the last 2 days, there have been fuel scarcity. I couldn't get fuel to buy. The few places where there is a long queue, and unless you now have to buy from the what's it called, black marketers, all those boys whom you are not sure whether their product is adulterated. So as I am now, my car is almost empty, and I don't know whether I will have to be offering the ignition. May God have mercy. So what I'm saying invariably is that all things have not been equal. I don't know whether to blame PM Buhari for that, because we were hoping that Dangote will come on stream first quarter. They now said third or fourth quarter. I read somewhere yesterday that he's starting with 540 million barrels per day. The capacity would be 640 million barrels, 640,000 barrels per day. But he's starting with 540 by year end. So that is part of what made the president to tell his minister exactly, because it's more expeditious for him to do that if he pushes along, and with the level of poverty, level of unemployment, the level of anger in the land, any small thing can ignite violent conflict, and you don't want to have that on your hand on the eve of an election year. So it is wise for the president to have done this. Yes, it's going to erode investors' confidence, because that means you are putting the implementation of certain provisions of the Petroleum Industry Act on hold. And like Tim Presiva said yesterday, they are going to amend the PIA for the second time to now give implementation of removal of subsidy to 18 months from now. 18 months from now will take us to the middle of next year, and it will be like whoever
that's the first
that's the first time. Then it's going to, which means issue of petroleum subsidy will be a campaign issue. It will be a serious campaign issue, because people will be asking, will you remove or will you not remove?
Do you still see so? Because you just mentioned here that Dangote refinery would have come on stream.
That is all things being equal. All things being equal. And anything can happen. We didn't see COVID-19 coming in 2020. You understand? And that impacted negatively on the implementation schedule of that refinery being built, because many of the expatriates, when they traveled, they couldn't come back because of travel bans. So it took a while to sort that out. And you know, this COVID-19, the first index case in Nigeria was in February of 2020, and February 27 or 28. So the Chinese who went for their lunar celebration, their own, many of them could not even come because of travel restriction. They couldn't come on time, and those who came, 2 killed, had to be attended to. So it affected quite a number of things. We pray that nothing again will upset the plan to have Dangote, because that's the only reason why the federal government is hoping that in the next 18 months we'll be able to exit issue of fuel subsidy. But it's a conundrum that has been with us for over 3 decades. And unless the political will is there is no time you want to remove subsidy that the organized labor will not want to vent anger. But the only way to placate that, and I think, again, Winifred, it is good that Buhari is suspending this, because another corruption that was going to be a takeover from the removal of subsidy was this: there are 5,000 naira for 40 million people. How do you do that?
It was, and by calculation, it was even much
more than what you will use to subsidize. You are not saying 40 million people. That was a wrong-headed policy to be thought of. How could you say you are going to be giving 40 million people 5,000? The social investment program that is being run under the SIP is seriously being challenged because of issue of conditional cash transfer, where cash is being paid out to many of the beneficiaries. It's now that the public outcry and the fact that the leadership of the National Assembly have condemned, even Aisha Buhari have condemned the implementation of social investment program, that they are now trying to do the transfer through the banks. Up until when they were giving them this COVID-19 palliative. You know what? Did you see the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs dishing out cash to beneficiaries of conditional cash transfer? And we said, look, this does not give room for transparency and accountability, because somebody can collect 5 times. You understand? It's just for you to change your dress or change your style or whatever. And you just continue to tick. But if you do this by banks, at least it will be, you can trace the bank accounts, and if one person is receiving more than once, then you can flag it. So what we are saying is that it is good that they didn't even allow the first subsidy to be removed, only to be now replaced with another fraudulent 5,000 naira for 40 million beneficiary as a way of cushioning the effect of the removal of the petroleum subsidy. And anyway, it's good. I hope our politicians will learn, especially as we plan for 2023. Buhari now is being haunted by what he said in 2014, when he said there was no subsidy. It is a fraud by good Lord Jonathan administration to make money and all of that. Now the same administration, almost 7 years in the service now, is now paying trillions in subsidy.
Senator, what I want clarity on, what happens to the board appointment that Buhari has made for PIE?
No, the board appointment stays. You know, they have now calibrated, is it calibrated I should say, they have now created they've bifurcated the NNPC into upstream and downstream. So the NNPC is now a going concern, is now a business enterprise that is supposed to have shareholders that will now be more accountable and transparent. So there will be two commissions, one for the upstream, one for the downstream. And the one Margaret Okadibo recently chaired, which was inaugurated, was it last week or 2 weeks ago now, is for the, I think, upstream sector. So that the board and other structures will still be in place. The only thing that they will not remove the plug is the subsidy. So we'll still continue to pay. And that's why
But what if when the next president comes and he wants to make a change for the plug?
Well, you know, it's not today they've been dissolving board and reconstituting it. It's all political appointment, you know. It was Ararume that was initially nominated, or his political enemies. They said, don't give him yours. So the day of inauguration, we just saw Margaret Okadibo's widow. I mean, Okadibo's widow being inaugurated as the chairperson. So every other thing with the PI will still run its course. The only thing that will be altered is the removal of subsidy. So let's just see. And luckily last year, for the first time in 44 years, NNPC declared profit. I hope they will be profitable this year because we don't want the alibi that now that we have a PIA that they are running at a loss again, because many people believe that their declaration of profit last year was political.
Yeah, it was political that it has no backing from the books.
In the books. So, but whatever it is, it at least it calms the postponement of the removal of suspension, the removal of subsidy, really calmed free now, has calmed the tension in the country, because everybody was apprehensive that by tomorrow, if Labour should go on strike, the country may be grounded, and that may be the reason why there was fuel scarcity in FCT in the last couple of days.
Now, let's look at the last rider. It says Lawan, that is Senate President, wants fear smuggling stem. Now, this is coming at the time that Rivers State, under Mr. Wiki, they discovered about 112 illegal refineries in the council of the councils. And the federal government is not saying anything.
A pity Wiki.
And the federal government is not saying anything.
You know why I say a pity Wiki? Wiki bar prostitution in Rivers State. Is that demolishing of the illegal refinery? Didn't you know they were there before? Is it now you just knew that those illegal refineries, they were there all along? People knew their existence. It was just a cartel. You understand? But maybe because of
the presence of the suit, you know, it was the suit that was.
We know. See, I've read a report by SDN. It's a CSO based in Port Harcourt about this illegal bunkering.
Yes.
In fact, I have a friend.
I also chanced upon him too.
Dada Gariba, if he's watching, he will bear me witness. He did his PhD. You know, he is an expert in Dr. Dada Gariba. I mean, he works in the extractive industry. Okay. There was a time we had a chat. He told me that these illegal refineries that they are doing, there will be no end to it. Because it's their only port. It's the only port. All the youths in the Niger Delta, all the youths in the...
And we also had the participation of security agencies. Because
it's corruption now, grand corruption. Do you know how much they make on each of those trucks after they do the illegal refinery? And just to let you know that the federal government itself is aware of this dastardly act. Oshibajo went to Niger Delta in 2017 and promised to bring on board these artisanal miners, artisanal refiners, that they were going to fund them into cooperative, and they will be trained on how to do modular refining. Because the issue the federal government had with them was the despoliation of the environment because of the crude way they are doing it. So that they were going to be formed into cooperatives so that they can come together and float modular refineries. Do you get it? But how much of that has come the way of these youth? They just make political statement without backing it up. So this thing has been in existence for long, not be today, as they say in local parlance, not be today. It's been on. So we get that is just grandstanding, asking for the it's just because of election is coming. When if he becomes vice president, as it's been insinuated, you know there is a lot of insinuation that he has interest in becoming the vice president, or maybe he will go into Senate next year. So he just wanted, because when will you think what the suit issue in Rivers, in Port Harcourt, has been on for years? It's not today. Even it precedes Wike. Wike is on his 7th year as the governor. Why is he just waking up to this issue of illegal refinery? He knows of their existence. It's just that now he wants to take action. He doesn't need the vote of the people. Well, maybe I should not say that. Because even if he wants to go to Senate, he will need it. But this one that he has banned prostitution and is now taking just off the boys through this. It's a commendable thing, but I don't think for...
Is that not infringement on their...
Which right?
Prostitution is the oldest profession in the world.
Winifred, there is no law backing prostitution in our law books. It's not a profession. It's not a profession. It's a vocation that people subject themselves to. And this issue of prostitution has led to increase in the rate of HIV/AIDS around the country now. It has led to high level of infections. And that's why it's very easy, even FCT, you know, the FCT, Abuja Environmental Protection Board, has rounded up a number of brothers, and and what they try to do in FCT is to rehabilitate them and give them vocation so that they don't go back. But whether it's the oldest profession in the world or not, does not mean it's legal. It's like people taking marijuana.
I don't think they clamp them out.
In Western world, they call them commercial sex workers. They have union. They are legalized. It's like, wait, Winifred. Be careful what you are doing. You know, in Europe and America, prostitution is a profession. You get license to practice. And they even do films. That's why they can do all those porn films and all of that. Because the system there permits and regulates them. And they are provided very good medical services. They have their doctors who examines them, who carry out regular tests for STDs and HIV and all of that. You understand? And if you want to do without condom, you know you pay different price to all of it. They have highly sophisticated regulatory system there. But in Nigeria, they are not legalized. It's like when people buy weed and smoke. Weed is not legal in Nigeria. But that is not to say even law enforcement agents are not also buying and smoking weed. Even some doctors are known to be smoking weed. But it doesn't make it legal. The same thing with abortion. Abortion is illegal. It's illegal, but people carry it out every day. You know, people do it every day. All these young girls, may God have mercy on us. Some have done 5 abortions, some have done 4. And it's doctors that will still do it for them, or some of them will use crude waste to cause them, which has led to the destruction of uterus or something. But what we are saying is that the fact that some people do it does not make it legal. Now, coming back to the issue of Lawa.
We are talking about Wike's standing on
well, let's leave Wike alone. He has a reason why I'm saying. I'm only saying Wike did it when it suits him, that it is time for him to do it. Not that those things just are just, they have been there. But he has his reasons why he's swooping on them. In fact, he's giving 360 million to each local government chairman to get bulldozers to go and level those things. it causes environmental degradation. It's not healthy for the environment. There's no gain saying that. But we can know why it's doing that. But
that they also reduce Nigeria's crude importation too. Because they bust pipelines.
Bust pipelines. You know, that's why when ALJAZIRAH Mohammed, our Minister of Information, said they spend 60 billion every year to repair vandalized pipelines. These are what causes all those vandalism. You understand? Because they will bust the pipe and then they refine the crude in a very crude, they call it crude oil.
But you know, Mr. J, if we were to interrogate this matter further, you discover that it's going to affect their revenue from PIA when it comes on stream, because there's a caveat to the 3% for these oil producing companies on the ground that pipelines are not vandalized, and you know these companies are going to capitalize on that.
In fact, they have already started. There was a recent case in Bayelsa, in a community, I've forgotten the name of that community, where there's now serious altercations between the oil company and the people of the community and the state government. The oil company is claiming that its pipelines were breached. I think the oil well was breached by the people in the community. The community said no, the thing spoiled and they didn't repair it on time, and it has led to colossal loss. The state government is backing the people that it is the IOC that should take responsibility. So that was part of the caveat in the PIA.
It's going to play a big issue.
Yes, because they said if the pipeline is breached by the people in the community, they won't pay the 3% host community trust fund money. But what of situation where it is due to the negligence of the IOC?
And you know, they were also, the pundits are also saying that even the companies themselves, they may even breach it themselves in order not to pay.
Which is what happened in Bayelsa State. I forgot it. It's a very recent issue that even Mrs. Sharon Ikeazo, the Minister of State for Environment, had to go there on sightseeing. They mobilized NASDRA. Is it NOSDRA or NASDRA? They went there, they set up a committee. Though the committee gave a report that I think the committee said it's the people of the community that breach it. The state government and the people in the community said it's the IOC that breach it. So that is causing rough. But let me speak quickly before we move on to the issue of raised by the President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, about fuel subsidy smuggling being stemmed. It's a daydream. It will not stop. It will not stop because we have, I've said it on this program, we have an estimated 1,400 illegal entry routes to Nigeria or outside Nigeria. So, I was somewhere recently and myself and somebody from Adamawa were chatting, a former commissioner, and he told me, he said, this issue of illegal entry routes, that it's so real for them in Adamawa. He said there was a team he led to some communities, and one of the team members decided to ease himself. So he said, please, gentlemen, let me ease myself. There was no public toilet, so he has to do it in the day. He moved a bit further and he was urinating. And the man told me, he said, when the man finished and he came back to the team member, he said, you just urinated on Cameroon land. That place where you urinated belongs to Cameroon, but we are in Nigeria. It's artificial. No fence, no thing stopping you from Nigeria to Cameroon. So, illegal entry route, Donald Trump tried it, wanted to build wall across the Mexican border. Did he succeed? In 4 years, he couldn't. He couldn't. So you look at how massive Nigeria is. How do you build a fence to stop this? And because one thing, somebody posted that in Ghana, per liter, a liter of fuel sells for about 650 naira. So we are buying 165 here. In Cameroon, it sells for like 300 or 400 naira. So in as far as the Nigerian fuel is cheaper, people will continue to smuggle. And because it's also an employment opportunity for them, the host communities are not carried along, because this host community, they lack infrastructure, no road, no water, no electricity. They have to fend for themselves. So even when they know the smugglers, they are not ready to blow whistle on them, because it's their children that are engaging in this smuggling. So in as far as the price of PMS in Nigeria is far cheaper, almost like 1/3 or 1/4 of what is being sold in other African countries. Definitely, and that's why the fear is being expressed that Dangote, when it comes on stream, may prefer to sell to Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Cameroon, because there it will make more money. They are buying at 650 naira in Ghana now per liter. If he sells to them officially at 400,
our crude is going to be refining now, not their crude now.
He's buying. He will buy and process.
Okay.
Yes, now you are not giving him for free now.
Okay. So let's move over to the next paper we have on our lineup this morning, and it's a Daily Independent. It's a developing story on the Electoral Amendment P. And Daily Independent this morning is out with National Assembly harmonizes position on consensus candidacy. National Assembly harmonizes position on consensus candidacy. Says parties must get written consents of other aspirants. It's fair enough.
Well, we wait for the application of this law. I can't wait for the president to sign it into law, so that at least this issue of mode of primary is actually the headache of political parties. Whichever way, if they make a mess of eating head, they will find a lot of litigations on them. So let's not get too fixated on the political party problem. We have taught them at different training sessions on the need to follow due process, to follow rule of law, to follow their constitution and electoral guidelines. Now they said parties must get written consent. What if they forge the written consent? Because what if they forge?
No, the experts can cry out now.
You know, I hope the parties will learn from what happened to APC in Rivers and Zamfara in 2019. You know, it is issues arising from what's it called? This one, the congresses. It is the fight over the elective congress ahead of 2019 election in Rivers that led to the fight to finish between Magnus Abe's camp and Rotimi Amechi's camp. And that's why they couldn't even get on to do a credible nomination of candidates. And they lost out, APC lost out completely, which is why Wike is running like a sole administrator. The man just, the APC tried to sponsor one candidate, AAC candidate, so that they will now make him to come to APC after winning. But they made their Waterloo. Wike was too smart for them. Now, in Zamfara, they even conducted the election, they won, but the Supreme Court said there was no credible candidate. They should, all of them under APC should relinquish their position to whoever is the runner. So, in those two instances, what are the lessons that our political party managers, what have they learned? Because the Electoral Act, I'm very positive the president will sign this one, unless he has other ulterior motive. And one thing I've also flagged since yesterday is, what about those drafting errors and cross-referencing gaps that civil society organizations raise alarm over? There are 11 clauses where they said there are cross-referencing errors and drafting, cross-referencing gaps and drafting errors. Have those also been taken care of as they deal with the issue of mode of primaries? If not, we may still have to, the president may still send the bill back for that reason. But we are crying in the civil society to say, take on this amendment holistically, deal with the referencing gaps, and the drafting errors, clerical errors that have been identified by the civil society groups. 11 of them deal with it as much as we have dealt with the issue of mode of primaries. Once these are done, then we believe it may even be before the end of the month. We still have some 5 days. Today is 26. We still have some 5 days in this month. The president may want to still give us as a New Year gift by signing, because one thing is we should commend the National Assembly for expeditiously working on amending the electoral bill, the contentious issue. And if they are done with this since yesterday, we hope that latest by Monday the president may get a clean copy, and he may sign it immediately, since there will be no need to refer it to Attorney General and for any advisory.
Well, viewers, we'll be going on a break now. When we come back, we'll resume with our review of other papers we have on our menu. Don't go away.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.
Yes, welcome back. This is Inside Nigeria on Leadership Television. My name still remains Winifred Weber, and with me in the studio is still Mr. Jide Ujo, public affairs analyst, TV host, and a syndicated columnist. It is always a pleasure to host you.
Same here, my sister.
Thank you so much. So we have our next paper on our menu this morning, and these are sister publication, National Economy, talking of business. National Economy this morning says agriculture, manufacturing, ICT to drive Nigeria's GDP in 2022. Agriculture, manufacturing, ICT to drive Nigeria's GDP in 2022 as National Economy, NESG projects 3.2% growth for economy. So we've always been having these rhetorics, how agriculture, manufacturing, and others will be the focal point of Nigeria's economy.
When we look forward to the actualization of this, the president just last week launched the rice pyramid. We never got to discuss that rice pyramid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what was the purpose of having the rice pyramid? I thought you were going to be distributed.
No, it's paddy rice. It's not even processed rice.
Okay.
It's paddies. That's why people are saying, what is the whole essence of this? You bring it to Abuja, made a show of it, then you still truck it back to many of the rice mills Abuja, I don't
And
know
the
if
money
there's any.
that will be budgeted for
Exactly.
it will make you
You now have increased the cost of production because these parties should have been taken directly to the mills, and that will have. In fact, what I would have loved to see that day was that what they have there at the Trade Center Abuja is processed rice from the local production, Nigerian-made rice, which will have been sold to Nigerians, and this has shown that rice is not cheap. People are asking.
Naysayers were even hoping that rain will fall and on the side like
there are people who believe that this thing was stage managed, that they put plants behind and then just did bags of rice as a window dressing. But whatever it is, what we know is that yes, Buhari claimed that he's achieving agricultural revolution, rice revolution, a lot of investment in the agricultural value chain, which is good. Manufacturing, I don't know where we are going with manufacturing with epileptic power supply, because that is the hub. That is what can make our manufacturing sector more productive. Imagine the cost of production. You have to buy diesel at over 300 naira per liter to power your generator. PACN or discos are on. They are the one on the main source of supply is the generator, whereas NEPA that should have been the main source is now the alternate source. So manufacturing sector is crying. We have not grown the manufacturing sector. Look at solid mineral. How do you do value addition on those solid minerals without taking them to the factory for processing and all of that? Even agribusiness, how do you do agribusiness without the manufacturing sector? Because all those all those there's now a device that can help you to pound yam, and the one that can help you to shell rice, to shell maize and all of that. All of this needs power. And if you now have to be powering them with diesel, with PMS, you are increasing the cost of production in as far as those consumables are not cheap. So the manufacturing sector will be improved significantly if we are able to solve our energy problem. Then ICT, I agree. There are so many labs, ICT labs, developing across the country. People have said that we should have our own Silicon Valley in Nigeria. And the opportunities in the ICT sector is limitless. It's limitless.
But why some of our universities are actually doing this? Because they have what is called, I forgot it.
Universities.
Some universities, yes. Like
yes.
Ife, about University.
Yes, many universities are setting up ICT
Yes, they have students doing ICT. Yes. I was really impressed because I was wanting to be in their
issue of software development, troubleshooting, networking, issue of even there's no facet of life you cannot apply ICT. Yes. Look at issue of logistics that people are doing. It's the boats of this world, the Ubers of this world, the Taxify of this world are running on ICT. It's app. You download app and then you call, and then from there they come and pick you. You pay and all of that. It's running on ICT and logistics, other logistics that people doing delivery services. Yes. They run on ICT. Exactly. It's ICT. So practically everything is now ICT driven. And with COVID-19, I've seen theater productions that are ICT driven. People are taking their, everybody is doing drama skits now. Yes. People so are many. Doing, and I went to watch a theater production during the peak of COVID-19. We were in our vehicles, we are in our car. They gave a frequency on a radio that you think we were just watching through our windshield, watching the performance on stage. at a distance. That's ICT. You know, each of the cast, each of the artists have a microphone attached to them, so you can listen through the radio to what they are saying. So everything you can conceive, even churches, religious worships are running on ICT.
Yes.
There are now so many online churches, virtual, church meetings that are running. Even businesses now, people are working from home. It's ICT driven, so the opportunities are limitless. Look at TikTok. How many billion TikTok is making from people using that app? Look at this other one, Zoom. Now all meetings, let's meet virtually. People are meeting, having virtual meetings. It has reduced the cost of travels to attend meetings and all of that. So ICT opportunities are limitless, and I'm not surprised that Nigeria Economic Summit Group says there will be 3.2% in the growth of economy arising from agriculture, manufacturing, and ICT.
Yes, from national economy, we are running out of time now. We quickly move over to the last paper we have on our menu this morning, and is ALJAZIRAH midweek. The headline story, is on jailbreaks. It's a heads to row in correctional service. Heads to row in correctional service. Deputy Controller General's orders affected. Nababa waiting for minister's response. Fears across the country over rising attacks. Incidents higher under Aregbesola. Unease over poor staff welfare overcrowding. Is on ALJAZIRAH midweek this morning.
Well, for me, I think the last one there, unease over poor staff welfare and overcrowding, is actually the bane of jailbreaks.
Yes.
I mean, when government reads out statistics about the inmates in our correctional facilities, you will know that they should apologize and even pay compensation to those inmates. That is not the way to treat people who are in correctional services. You have 90%, 80%, minimum 70% of awaiting trials being the population of most correctional centers. And I think I've addressed it on this program. You arrest somebody for an offense. Maybe let's assume that he is guilty or she is guilty, but the maximum penalty for that offense is 3 months imprisonment or 10,000 naira fine. And you kept him for 3 years.
4 years.
4 years, 5 years for an offense that, if justice were to be delivered expeditiously, the total punishment, maximum punishment, is 6 months imprisonment or 20,000 fine, which he could afford to pay and get out. And this person will be in jail, in correctional service, for 5 years before justice is delivered. And as it is said, justice delayed is justice denied. So we have issue of overcrowded correctional services. Many of these correctional centers, formerly called jails, were built in the colonial eras. And just imagine, even if you build a modern house, in 10 years, many of those buildings will be caving in. Dilapidations and everything. And now you overcrowded these dilapidated structures. So it makes it easy for jails to be invaded. And unless we build better modern jails or modern correctional centers, there is no time that jailbreaks will not be a continuous phenomenon. But let's look at the back end. The back end of jailbreak is that it puts society at risk, because these people are hardened criminals. What they did in Oyo town, there is a serial murderer, Sunday, that even when he was initially arrested, he managed to escape from the police detention facility before he was eventually put out. The guy has escaped alongside the other inmates in the Abolongo Correctional Center in Oyo town.
Like during the one that took place, that instance in Edo State.
Yes.
The one who escaped went home, killed the key witness in his case.
Imagine. So this it has the one that took place in Owerri about June last year led to this spike in incidents of gunmen or unknown gunmen that we are talking, because in that singular jailbreak, over 3,000 of them were set loose. Only, I'm not sure they were able to recapture up to 500 of that. And even the governor of Imo State alluded to it, that jailbreak actually spiked incidents of crime and criminality in the southeast and particularly in Imo State. So what we are saying invariably is that the authorities, well, it's below the belt to say under Aregbesola there is more jailbreak. Is he directly, maybe there are things he's supposed to do as a minister that he didn't do in terms of funding of these correctional centers, which has also been alluded to, that there is staff welfare and funding. So, but I think Aregbesola needs to do a lot more as Minister of Interior. If he needs to seek international support, let him do so. There are countries across the globe that can share and give technical support to the Nigerian correctional centers on how to do modern day habitation of crime suspects, because you need to build better facilities, stronger facilities that can withstand breaches, easy breaches. You need to, was it 3 weeks ago, there was even a face-off between Ondo State government and the Nigerian Army. And the Nigerian Army withdrew their men from the correctional centers for about a week before the dialogue again. And in fact, in that period, the governor of Ondo State had to deploy Amotekun Corps and civil defense. And everybody was shouting that this is dangerous. So even with soldiers there, these people the jails are being breached. The one in Okitipupa was breached during the NSAS, and a lot of inmates were set loose, and many of them never got recaptured. So we need to do a lot more to properly strengthen our correctional centers, but we also need to provide humane services within those centers. The fact that somebody is in jail today does not mean he cannot be rehabilitated, he cannot come out to be a better citizen. We have seen people who went to jail who later became, look at Nelson Mandela, who from prison 27 years came out to be the president of South Africa. Look at our own Obasanjo, who from jail came to be the president for 8 years. Look at, even in the Bible, the case of Joseph, who was in prison, and from there he came out to be the prime minister of Egypt. So we should not treat the inmates as if they are outcasts. People, each of the moment can commit crime, and some of them do regret, some of them do get transformed while they are in prison, and we just need to treat them humanely. There was a time I did an article in my column in Punch about Buster Center, correctional center in Netherlands, where you can even have intercourse with your wife while you are in prison. You can make babies. The only thing, and you can walk. You walk to hand a pay. You do all manner. The only thing is restriction of movement. That's all. In fact, when I read that, I couldn't help but wrote an article about that kind of experience. I just wish it can happen.
It will take years before we can get to that level. If Nigerians can discriminate against somebody with HIV, HIV. So is this somebody that is in jail they will not discriminate against?
But all those big men that went to jail, nobody discriminate against it. If you swear you don't have money, they discriminate against it. They will tell you the record of high profile people who have been to jail before they say I'm a prisoner of conscience.
Wow. We're almost out of time now.
But we should have talked about corruption perception index. Nigeria is now 154 out of 180 countries. It doesn't look good for the Buhari administration, who came on the platform of anti-corruption.
We 154. We still got about 26 people.
Oh, we were 149 last year. We were 146 the previous year. So what water go like last kimono of wood said water go with our corruption fight.
That's a topic for another day. Where we've come to the end of today's Inside Nigeria on Leadership Television. I've had with me in the studio all along Mr. Jide Ojo. Mr. Jide Ojo, it's always a pleasure.
Thank you for having me. Enjoy the rest of your day, and let's do this again next Wednesday.
Yes, definitely will. My name remains Winnie Podebebo, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, same time, same station.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.